said, what are you doing here? He said, this is my life now. He said, but it's not what it means. You don't have to leave everything in that way. Leave your attachments to them. Not necessarily to leave the thing physically. It's the attachments. And somehow it brought up a deep understanding within him, and he returned home. Continued to run his little shop and to have his family and do all these things. In fact, it even makes things really authentic. That can you live in life as it is without thinking, oh wow, what I see disturbs me, what I hear disturbs me, what I taste disturbs me, everything disturbs me, because I don't exist. Or whatever it is.
Where did you put it, babe?
So, there is something.
You took it out already?
I'm very happy you brought this question,
it.
It will be very valuable for a lot of people. Then in what way is it possible that one can have particularly an intimate relationship? And I would say that the relationship you have with your children, with your parents or whatever, with your spouse or whatever, that they are very intimate and they call up this, which may feel like a challenge for a while.
Oh, true.
How did Krishna and Radha get on? You see, there are examples of that love. How did it happen? Well, beautifully, but not work it out here. Somehow within that great field, you will continue in your dynamic expression in life, can have a kind of an ordinary extraordinariness about it.
You found it, now find some way to destroy it.
And in fact, your relationships will improve because you will not be able to tolerate the things which are not true. You get to them more quickly, and you're less willing to stay in a situation where you're just suffering, and but you're so needy you can't let go. Something is more clear, there's more power, more brightness inside you. And the whole thing, if you're in a genuine relationship where you're both growing, you'll find it's a tremendous power there to contribute to each other's growth. They say that the husband becomes the guru of the wife, and the wife is the guru of the husband. Because you're called by the same God. Something develops and it can be really enriching. There is a non-duality inside the duality. It's like the stillness inside the movement. There's the oneness inside the manyness. The invisible inside the visible. There's a harmony that cannot be figured out by the intellect of the person, but only in the intellect of the being. Somehow it works. Otherwise, it would mean that as soon as one really wake up, you vanish, basically. Because, the duality, offensive. Duality is not offensive. It's not offensive. It's actually, you cannot have experience without duality. Including the experiencing of awakening. So there is something there. What will happen is that personal relationships, it's a good design actually, because it's also designed to reach other places that other relationships cannot reach, and to expose your deepest fears and attachments. They will come up. It's not only for that, okay? It can feel like it's primarily for that, but it will show, because, if you are by yourself in that kind of way, you can say, well, nothing challenges. But in relationships, especially intimate relationships, it trigger in the human being where our hidden dreams are still alive, or projections, our desire relationship fantasies are still alive. Our project or the control is still alive. And we will bring them up to the surface for them to be just like if you have an earthquake at the bottom of the ocean, a lot of bubbles come up. They don't go down, they come up. They touch the surface, they pop and disappear. And in the same way, it will happen and can happen, always happen. Sometimes we can't go to the explanation. But it brings up things that if you are genuinely in search of truth, it will bring those up to the surface. There's something beautiful about love. There's a peace about love. There's a more space for tolerance and for introspecting, because it will provoke those tendencies. Those tendencies may be latent in the person who is just by themselves also. Does not mean that you should go find a relationship to find them. Everything has its season. If you're by yourself, you can't find a partner right now, try and find the gift of being alone. Because when you find a partner, you're going to wish, oh my God. I did have those days when I was really, you see? So learn to value all the different stages that life brings, you see? And don't try to be perfect in your role, in the sense of the human personal role. Don't try to be perfect. There are no perfect personalities, even amongst the sages. Okay? And you will also experience in life that you can try to do the best you can. Somebody will just hate you, basically, you know? Like Christ said, they hate me for no reason. You don't think that being a nice person is going to secure people liking you like this. There's no single being who is ever loved by everyone, including God. Okay? So just be true inside. And you have discovered, for me, the most important discovery in the human kingdom. You're discovering your isness, which has taken us out of the forest of confusion and conflict and thisness and thatness and selfishness, and to be identified with that. When we didn't know better, we were swimming in our mud stream. And now you're again in the expansiveness of being. You don't have to scratch your head so much about life. Ramakrishna said something very beautiful. He said, the mind is like a stream, a very shallow stream, with mud very close to the surface. If you wish to drink clean water, scoop lightly. Go too deep and everything becomes mud. And when we are functioning from the person, mud is very close to the surface. We are very protective because we feel vulnerable. The state of personhood is easily vulnerable and selfish. As you come back into the immensity of being, those personal things within yourself and subsequently in the apparent selves of others become less irritating for you, less of a fighting point for you. You're back in your globality, you're back in the wider love. You're not perceiving so personally. So back to the question again, where's the place for that intimate relationships? In freedom. Does it mean that we should all leave home and go off as sadhus and live in caves and things like that, or whatever, live by yourself now, because it's just impossible to live with someone? If it is impossible to live with people when you're free, unless it is your parabdha karma, which means that it's just what is designed for your life now. Some people, it is fine to be alone. You don't have to have a partner, you see. If you feel happy on your own, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Beautiful. If you find that you cannot stick in one place, you keep moving about, for a while, that is how your life will feel. I can only recommend that you discover and through the invitation, this vastness within yourself. And that includes, it's not exclusive, it's all inclusive, includes all of life, but seen from a new perspective. So it is possible, very much, and can be a beautifying and enriching. It can be also an avenue through which greater love and greater understanding, maybe just through the way in which you interact and grow in your relationship, may actually open up your mind and heart to the wider field. That there's a love in you that is capable of embracing the entire universe, in fact. These words are not too big for you when you hear them inside the isness. If you hear them as a that's a poor. Of course, from the sense of a person, you may say,